So Mel Kiper, obviously we talk a lot about him with his mock drafts. The last mock draft had the Lions trading down to number 12 to get Micah Parsons. Mel Kiper made a comment that said the Lions, no matter what, at number 7, should not go for a quarterback.
This is the first time he's ever said something that I could at least agree a little bit with. Because if the Lions do go with the quarterback, I'll still be happy if it is a Justin Fields. But when you look at his draft and you see how high he had Zach Wilson, that's when I look at him and I'm like, this dude's just talking out of his ass.
Yo, I'll say this about that. A broken clock is right twice a day, and that's where Mel Kiper is right here. I don't think that there is a reason for the Lions to go ahead and get a quarterback. He's absolutely right. When we've seen people talk about, well, Jared Goff was good because he had all these pieces built around him. Okay, so by that measure, the Lions should go ahead and build around Jared Goff. Jared Goff has actually proven that he can win with the correct pieces built around him. You know who didn't prove that? Matthew Stafford. So go ahead and build around a young quarterback. He's 26. He's 3-3 in the postseason, including the Super Bowl. Go ahead and see what you got with them. Take 2-year flyer on them. If it doesn't work out, you're able to get away from it with minimal risk. You can even draft a quarterback next season or in the draft after that. You don't have to go ahead and draft a quarterback right now. I don't think that there's any quarterback that the Lions can get at 7 that is going to make or break the franchise. So use those picks and build pieces. That's what I think.
I mean, it's honestly been kind of the debate in the hallway here at Woodward Sports, too. I know Sean Baligian's got a big opinion on this. You know, everybody wants somebody or doesn't want somebody, and it seems that the quarterback decision is what the big conversation is about. I'm in the camp of, this isn't the year we need a quarterback. We got 2 first-round draft picks next year. We have assets to trade up if there's a great guy next year that we really want. And like you said, if I was to put a blindfold on you and just list off stats and be like, I'll give you a 27-year-old former number 1 overall pick who took his team to a Super Bowl and plays through injuries, will you take this guy as a Lions quarterback? And of course you're going to say yes. Every single time you're going to say yes. So why are we already moving past possibly the best commodity we've had at quarterback in the last 15 years?
Jared Goff does not have to be this elite Hall of Fame quarterback. He doesn't have to be Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes. He doesn't have to be Tom Brady. Jared Goff just has to be good enough to win you playoff games. That's it. He's proven that he can do that. Go ahead and use those pieces accordingly. When the year that he led the Rams to the NFC Championship and then to the Super Bowl, he was the 4th that year in QB in passing yards, and he was 8th in the passer rating, and he was 6th in passing touchdowns. That means just put some pieces around the guy, and he can be above serviceable. I don't think it's really too much rocket science in this. Don't blow the pick on a QB unless you just off of the scouting feel that, hey, this is somebody that we cannot pass on. If you look at Justin Fields, if you look at a Zach Wilson, if you look at a Trey Lance, and you honestly in your heart of hearts believe this is somebody we cannot pass on, then you draft them. If you are on the fence, don't use a pick on a quarterback.
Yeah, Joey, I know in your mock draft you had Justin Fields, so you kind of want a quarterback, right?
That's the thing, though. I mean, obviously that mock draft was the 1.0, and it was before the Jared Goff trade all went down. But it's still one of those things that, I mean, I get both sides, you know? It's like I still feel like Justin Fields is going to be a really good performing quarterback in the NFL, even though Ohio State quarterbacks suck in the NFL. It's just Corey brings up the biggest point in Mel Kiper when he talks about how they got to actually give him this support. You got to do that. And it's like you can't use I won't be mad. I'm going to just say that. Right. I won't be mad if we don't go with him. If we get a Zach Wilson or someone else, I'll be mad.
If we get Zach Wilson,
I'll be mad.
You'll be mad?
If Justin Fields is there and they choose Justin Fields over Zach Wilson, I would be with Joey. I'd be highly upset.
No, I'm saying that if we get Justin Fields over Zach Wilson, I'll be happy.
Oh, no, I'm saying if they got Zach Wilson over Justin Fields, I'd be upset.
Yeah,
you're both full of shit. Honestly.
Yeah, you guys want Justin Fields over Zach Wilson, both of you?
Yes.
You guys, do you do anything outside of work? Do you like actually? What the fuck are we talking about?
You rather take Zach
Are
Wilson?
you serious? As a prospect, yes, I'd rather have Zach Wilson over Justin Fields.
Well, listen,
But
history
the
will
point
tell.
the point is, if the GM of the Detroit Lions is all in on a quarterback this year, he takes him at 7, plain and simple. I'd be more than happy if Zach Wilson was available at 7. He's not going to be there, though. So it's not even a conversation. He's going at 2 or 3. So
Adam, the turnaround you've had on Zach
Yes.
Wilson being a top prospect has been
It's
amazing.
frustrating.
It's been because, if you haven't been following the show, like Adam's kind of been off the show for the past month while we've been training Art to be a part of our brand new show, The Hook, that is on every day 3 to 5 right here on the Woodward Sports Network with Darren McCarty, Pilar, Maz, and of course now Art. But Adam told me about Zach Wilson months ago, and he's like, man, if the Lions could get this guy in the 2nd or 3rd round, that would be a steal. And then later on, I'm like, Adam, people are talking about this guy going in the top 15. He's like, these people are fucking idiots. Why would this guy be going in the top 15?
And now
they're
what are you
overrating
saying?
him. And now he's
No,
like,
no.
if
So
the
that's the
Lions
point.
get him over Justin Fields, it's a win.
no.
I love it. No, it's been great to watch.
He's playing hopscotch, man.
I'm not
He's
playing
back and forth, back and
hopscotch.
forth.
No, not at
You
all.
talking out your ass.
Not at
That's
all.
what you're doing. I'm gonna
You're
call
not
you Mel
listening.
Kiper's
You're not listening.
dumbass.
You're not listening. You're not listening at all. First of all, the whole point to it, in October when I brought it up, nobody was talking about the guy. I told Stick very clearly, this guy is a great young prospect. Like, he's not perfect coming out. None of these quarterbacks outside of Trevor Lawrence are perfect coming out. He's the only quarterback that is a complete hit day one. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, nobody. Now, to the Zach Wilson conversation, why I'm like okay with it, it's because I know he's not going to be at 7. Teams are going to take him at 2 and 3, and they're going to be very happy. It's that simple. He's not going to be an option for the Detroit Lions.
So if he fell at 7, you'd be okay with the Lions taking
Oh,
a
my
quarterback,
goodness.
even though you don't really want the Lions to take a quarterback.
I don't want the Lions to take a quarterback because we have 2 free years of Jared Goff. But if Zach Wilson is at 7, I would fucking riot if we pass on him.
What if Justin Fields was also? What if Justin Fields was the only quarterback
Justin
left at
Fields
number
is
7?
going to be available at 7. No one's fucking taking him in the top 10. He's just not.
top 10 now.
No one's taking him in the top 10, man.
Dang.
Come on, Joey.
He may be going top 5, man.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
no.
There's no way top 10.
chance,
I'll
no
put
chance.
whatever my bookie bet you got on that one.
Okay. I'll give you $50 if he goes in the top 5.
If Justin
You just
Fields,
said top 10. Don't switch up.
You said top 5. Well,
You said
top
Stick
5.
said top
Okay,
5.
$100 if he goes in the top 10.
This guy just doubled up the bet.
Yeah, man.
Ooh. All
Listen,
right.
if I put 300 on Luka to get a fucking triple double, I'll put 100 on
All right,
Fields not to be in the top 10.
contingent on him breaking an ankle or anything of that. The deal
oh,
is
yeah,
over.
you can't do that, man.
All right,
It's a
fine.
bet. It's a
Fine.
bet as of
Bet's
today.
bet.
I mean-
100 on it.
I'll give
You're
you
gonna
all
be
the,
hiding
I'll
like
give you all
Herman
the
Moore on
leverage,
this
Joey.
bet
I'm
once you
very
lose.
confident Fields isn't going
Maybe
in the
you ever
top
get that
10.
50?
He's
Nope.
going to go between 12 and 16.
He texted me though. He said we'll figure it out this week.
Yeah,
Herman,
Herman Moore
still
still owes
waiting.
Joey $50 from the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, we got beef.
We're getting a lot of people commenting on this. Deshaun says, nope, don't want a QB at 7. Dan says, nope, defense wins championships. And John is saying Wilson is highly overrated. He has definitely been the prospect that has jumped the highest up the board throughout this entire pre-draft, pre-combine, pre-everything. I mean,
Chat, but they're all fucking idiots, honestly. I don't think they've watched a single thing of film outside of what they see on ESPN and Fox, honestly.
Trey Lance also has hopped up the board a lot, too.
Trey Lance, because there's a narrative behind it a little bit. But
Yeah.
for Zach Wilson, he makes all the throws, sideline to sideline, deep throws. He reads coverages. The thing with Justin Fields that scares you, whether you like it or not, about Ohio State, is they ask their quarterbacks to make one read. If the read is not there, they move. They either scramble because they're all mobile quarterbacks, or they book it. They book the play. It's a broken play. Ohio State coordinators only ask their quarterbacks to make one read. So it makes the transition for those quarterbacks more difficult to go to the NFL, where you have to make 3 to 4 before anybody's even open. It's a big, big, big difference. So that's why I'm not going to say Justin Fields is going to be a bust just because he went to Ohio State, but the odds are against him because he's
Because
at
he went to
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State.
See, my thing with it though is like I know you say that, but it's like you see Ryan Day. He's only been there for what, 2 seasons now, and everybody's saying this about Ohio State quarterbacks. A lot of them were under Urban Meyer, so it's different coaches. So you can't really assess one thing off of these last 10 years or so.
I can use Ryan Day as one example. Dwayne Haskins, horrible. Couldn't make any throws, let alone read coverages.
He can
it was
throw them dollars
embarrassing.
at them strippers,
He can throw at
though.
strippers. He can't throw shit on the field.
And
again,
I'm not defending him whatsoever.
That's the
I
one-
look at every single candidate as a different option in the
That's
NFL.
great. And Washington last year said, wow, this guy has a great arm. He made all the big throws. Chandler, what's his name? Chandler Jones was
Parsons?
the quarterback? No, the quarterback at Ohio State who won the national.
Yeah, Chandler.
Chandler
Jones.
What the hell
Jones.
is his name? Chandler Jones. Yeah. Horrible. He
No,
was
Cardinal-
actually
Cardell Jones.
Cardell Jones. There
My
you go.
bad.
Thank you. Yeah. This guy made every freaking throw possible in the college football playoffs.
Yeah, but he was fat.
He was fat, but
Like,
Big boy.
He
that's
made
what
all
happened.
the throws.
He was just fat.
He made all the throws, but it didn't matter. When you have a quarterback, and this is my opinion, if I was ever a GM, if there's a quarterback on the board and you believe in him, you're 100% sold on him, you take him no matter what the cost is.
Yeah, the only reason I don't I'm in the camp of not taking a quarterback this year, like I said, mostly because we got the 2 second-round picks last year, but also financially, it doesn't make sense to take a quarterback this year that you hope to be your franchise quarterback, because that is a position that you need to get cheap. Like, you need to operate on these rookie contracts, and if you know that Goff is potentially going to be your starter not only next year but the year after, now you've wasted 2 years of their rookie contract instead of just 1, and that can really bite you in the ass if you don't re-sign them to that 5th year. Now you're only getting 2 years of a good deal of a quarterback as your starter, and you're still hoping they're learning on the job. So that's, to me, financially even at number 7, taking a quarterback there, not knowing what we have in Goff, because Goff is the main factor in this. If we didn't have Goff, quarterback at 7, it's that simple.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. If you don't get Goff back in that deal, then it's a necessity to go ahead and take a QB at number 7. Getting Goff, getting somebody who is battle tested, playoff proven, it removes that necessity. Now you can go ahead and address other holes.
Yep. So I don't know, man.
It's awesome that we're in this situation because we do have a quarterback that we can work with now, and we're not dependent on drafting one.
And that's the best part about this is the Lions have put themselves in such a position to where they can start dictating moves and make the moves that they want to make and stay away from things that they don't want to be a part of. And usually in the past for the Lions, it was always out of desperation, always out of necessity. This time we can sit back with our wealth of draft picks and our wealth of players. We have a quarterback now that's been to a Super Bowl, and we can just sit there and wait for the right things to come to us. If we want to move up, use our assets. We want to trade down, use our assets, and just keep building. They've put so much in their pockets for the next 3 years that they're in a winning position for the first time in a long time.
If you're super honest about the Lions draft situation, you know 100% they're not taking a quarterback at 7. There's no chance. We're not going to do it. It's irresponsible to do it, not only because of our draft capital, but we have Jared Goff for 2 years risk-free. Dan Campbell's going to try to win football games. God bless him. But you got 2 years to build a real roster on rookie contracts. So
Right.
I don't see why they would take a quarterback at 7 unless somebody just fell.
Also, too, you got the factor in this. They have Brad Holmes as GM, and they have Aubrey Pleasant, who's going to be the passing game coordinator. They're both familiar with Jared Goff because they've all come over from the Rams. They're going to do their best job possible to make sure that Jared Goff is successful in his first year and hopefully in that second year, because that just makes their job a lot easier. That, okay, we've put the pieces around Goff to make him successful. Now our job is a lot easier for how we can build out this team.
Yeah, and when you look at the offensive weapons that we have some pieces to build around, especially with Hawkinson coming on. And we know Dan Campbell, tight end coach, assistant head coach for the Saints. So he's going to use him a little bit more. And you already heard Anthony Lynn very excited about how they're going to use Hawkinson. And they've been talking about DeAndre Swift becoming an elite back. If we bring back Kenny Golladay, which we could franchise and bring him back, you have a nice little arsenal there to give Goff. You re-sign Ragnow to an extension because he's the best lineman we've had in forever. And the offensive side of the ball really isn't looking awful at this point.
The biggest thing for the Lions on the offensive side of the ball is going to be health. If the Lions can stay healthy this offseason, they don't necessarily have an explosive offense, but they have an offense that's going to be able to put up some points. It's not like they have complete scrubs on that side of the ball. The Lions' biggest issue they need to address is that defensive side of the ball, which, again, a reason you don't need to draft a quarterback at 7. You need to address that defense. The offense, as shown near the end of the season when Darrell Bevell took over, is not necessarily the problem.
Yeah, it's not broken, at least. You know, you can dial it up. And even Adrian Peterson kind of alluded to it like, hey, we just need to adjust a few things and we'll be better off. I mean, we thought he was kind of talking about the defense, but maybe he was just talking about the offense. Like, hey, we just do a couple more things here and there, add a, nice slot receiver, and we're going to be on our way for offense.
And the Lions don't only have quality pieces with a Jared Goff, a Hawkinson, a Swift, and potentially we're expecting a guy to get franchise tag. They also have Deuce Staley and Anthony Lynn, who are coming in with chips on their shoulders. Anthony Lynn feels that he was probably unjustly fired out of Los Angeles.
He was,
which he was. Deuce Staley got passed over for that job over and over and over again. He's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. So now you're going to have a Jared Goff, led the team to a Super Bowl and got traded for a quarterback who didn't even win a damn playoff game. He's coming in with a chip on his shoulder. So things are looking up where they just maybe need to add a couple pieces in free agency to the offense, but go address that defense.
I don't like bringing everything back to the 04 Pistons, but like what you were just talking about reminds me a lot of the 04 Pistons. Like Chauncey Billups, number 3 overall pick, overlooked for several different teams, came here with a chip on his shoulder. Rip Hamilton had to sit behind Jordan, came here with a chip on his shoulder. Ben Wallace, undrafted, had to come here with a chip on his shoulder. Rasheed Wallace, how many times did he get his ass kicked by the Lakers out west before he had to come here with a chip on his shoulder? So while you were going through that, that's what was kind of flashing through my head. And when you bring those types of people together to try to build towards the one thing that's just like been holding them back, they feel their whole lives, that's a powerful force.
And you already heard Brad Holmes and you heard Dan Campbell say there's going to be no ego in this process. All of those guys have something to prove because the limelight is on them now. The Detroit Lions have never had this much national attention before, and we're just curious to see what they're going to do moving forward. But again, I believe that it's going to only bode well for them in that offense. So again, Mel Kiper again, he finally got one right on this one.
Good job, Mel, with that helmet hair you got. That guy's hair is flawless. So that's what Mel Kiper says. Adam, you're over there laughing because why are you laughing, man? You were laughing at the Anthony Lynn statement, or are you laughing at me comparing them to the Pistons?
The Pistons one is kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Why is it, I mean,
complete different situation. Like the Pistons were at least winning games and getting to the playoffs.
Yeah, but they had to assemble those guys to get there.
Yes, they assembled them, but they were winning games along the way. They added them as they were growing.
Right.
We're at the fucking floor.
They did go through that teal era as they were building, so they eventually had to go through their growing pains. So I think this is going to be the start of that, like the start of
the teal era.
not the start of the teal era because they were coming out of the teal era.
Yeah, we're leaving Bushler behind. We're moving on.
I'm for it, but for the Anthony Lynn comment, in my opinion, I actually thought he deserved to get fired because they had a top 15 defense. They had done great in the offseason to not only get Justin Herbert, who ended up being amazing, but they just underperformed. That team should have been a 9-10 win team. The Raiders should not have had a better record than them, and for me, that's why he did deserve to get fired.
I don't know. I mean, they dealt with a lot of BS to start that season, and two, you got to deal with a QB who you thought was going to be your starter, and he comes in with a punch in your lungs.
Thanks to the doctor.
Thank God. They would have been 0-16 if fucking Herbert wasn't the quarterback.
I will always assume it was the Simpsons doctor doing that.
Oh,
Like,
Dr.
everybody,
Nick.
hey, I stabbed you in the lung.
Whatever his name is, should get a key to the city.
Oh
and
my gosh.
every fan should fucking thank him for doing that. Dude, if we had a backup quarterback like Herbert, I would go there and stab the fucking starting quarterback.
We do. His name's Chase Daniel.
Oh my God.
I mean, we could have had a backup
Deshaun
quarterback.
gets it. Deshaun Mays in the chat right now. Going to work. Lions version.
Look,
Get
again,
that garbage
you know what?
or the
To
pale
what Corey
pal. Let's
said,
go.
To what Corey said, though, I really like the diversity in the locker room and on the staff. I think it's super good for the team. It's a definite culture change to what we've been used to over the last 15, 20
Accountable
years.
men.
100%. Having said that,
And women.
what we need to do is draft for the defense or trade back and gain draft capital. You're not going to be a 10-6 football team this year. Get it out of your mind. You signed a 6-year deal. You signed a 6-year deal for a reason. You knew you were going to be shit the first 2. Year 3 was going to be 9-7 or 10-6, and then year 4 and 5 was start winning some shit. That's just my take on it.
That's why I'm hoping that they're able to trade back and still get a later pick in the first round, in this year's draft in the first round, and hopefully get a pick from next year. Hopefully that is somebody that a team just feels so desperate they need to trade up with us that they take our number 7 pick and we can go down into maybe the team.
If those quarterbacks are available, that number 7 pick is going to be super valuable. But speaking of quarterbacks and being taken in the draft, Joey, did you put money on Trevor Lawrence not going number 1 overall yet?
No, but I'll still do that.
You should.
Honestly, think about that payout. That's probably plus 100,000.
No. Put $10 on it. It's plus 5,000. You'd win $500.
Damn.
Do it, Joey.
100%.
Do
You know
it,
why
Joey.
I can do that? Because I got $100 from this dumbass in the booth over there. If you missed what he said, he said that Justin Fields won't go top 10, and I get $100 off of that.
He's not going to.
All right.
It'll be interesting to see if he does. But I think we all agree quarterback is not something we have to do. But like Adam said, if they've fallen in love with some guy, you can see him taking somebody at 7. I don't want to see it because I want to give Goff at least a year. And if it doesn't work out after this year, then we know what we got. But the worst case scenario is we get a trade, or maybe Fields falls to us, or maybe Wilson falls to us, and we take them. Goff lights it up, and now we got to make a decision. Oh God, do we sit this guy for 3 years and ride out his rookie contract and just ruin the beginning of his career? Or do we stick with Goff? Like, I don't want to put ourselves in an unwinnable position.
I think it's a great situation. I think it's a great situation.
It's an awful situation.
No, it's not. If Jared Goff balls out this year, and let's say Zach Wilson falls onto the team and he's doing great in training camp, he's doing great in practice, all of that good stuff, you can trade Goff for a first-round pick, and then you have your franchise quarterback. After a year, you cut bait, and it's minimal cap hit. I don't see that being an issue, but again, I think all of us can agree we're not taking a quarterback at 7. It's just not going to happen.
I just don't see a quarterback in this year's draft where now that the Lions have Goff, that they have to take one. It's like it's not like the Jaguars where you're number 1 and you see Trevor Lawrence is like, hey, we're taking that guy. Regardless, if the Lions had the number 1 pick and they had Jared Goff, still take Trevor Lawrence. It's not that situation. I don't see as great as talented as Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Trey Lance are. I don't see them as that much of a the Lions cannot pass on that guy.
Wait till next season. The draft class for quarterbacks is awful.
It's awful?
It's awful.
There's no, but there's going to be a Zach Wilson that pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
there's going to be a Trey Lance that comes out of nowhere.
No, I, honestly, this year's a very good draft, but again, being drafted as a quarterback, a lot has to deal with where you get taken. So some of these quarterbacks won't pan out just because of their situation.
Well, I mean, odds are they're not going to pan out. You look at the first round quarterbacks that have been to Super Bowls and have won Super Bowls lately. There ain't many of them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's mostly coming from the second, third, and then Tom Brady occupies most of the Super Bowls with the 6th round that doesn't even exist anymore, which is amazing still to this day. So we're gonna find out who the Lions are targeting. Like I said, I don't want them to take a quarterback unless they absolutely fell in love with somebody. But to me, the worst case scenario is Goff lights it up. We sit this guy for 3 years. We waste his rookie contract, and now we got to pay him along with the rest of the team, and that is not a recipe for success in the NFL. And I really can't even think of a quarterback that has sat for 3 years before he started and did really well. You got like Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. That was only a year or so behind Alex Smith.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers
sat, I believe, 2 years behind Brett Favre before. But, you get in that 3-4 year mark, it's really, you're starting to waste him. Jimmy G, but they didn't even end up using him. They got some draft picks for him, but okay, what did that do? Really, the only person that I think has ever had a successful career after sitting that long was Steve Young. That's really the only person that I could think of off the top of my head.
Think about what that does to you, though. Like, you're the best quarterback at the Ohio State University all these years, and then all of a sudden you go to a team and you got to sit down for that many seasons. It's got to be so tough on them.
Yeah. It takes you out of your rhythm. It takes you out of the game.
Well, if he was good enough, he would start.
That's very true, too.
You know what's crazy? From the 2016 draft, number 1 and number 2 are now going to be starting this season on different teams because they were both traded this offseason.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't that
crazy.
awesome? And it's crazy how much they gave up to get in those positions to draft those guys, only to give them away and give up more. Like the Rams have
Crazy.
mortgaged their future. If they don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years, they are done for the next 10 years.
Oh, yeah, they're never, and pretty much everybody's getting fired.
Yep, gone. And then Sean McVay, you can come here. That'll work. I like McVay, at least as our OC. That'd be nice to bring McVay here as our OC. Adam, let's take a quick 15-second break.